Welcome to Film Go Go Go. Avatar is a science fiction film that was written and directed by James Cameron. It was released in 2009 and is the first film in the Avatar series. If you've watched Avatar in theaters or purchased the regular DVD, you might not have seen the extended version. The extended version of James Cameron's Avatar is actually 17 minutes longer than the original and features certain key scenes that provide crucial clues and interpretive context to the story. There are also some deleted segments that were removed by the director in the early production of the film, which are well worth watching. Compared to the original script, the deleted parts make up about 30% more content, and if they had been filmed, the movie would likely be around 4 hours long. It would have been a huge pity to delete some of these important scenes if the film hadn't been limited in length. These scenes give the movie a more comprehensive and deeper meaning, which is very beneficial to our in-depth understanding of Avatar's legendary story. In this video, we'll be selecting and analyzing 10 of the most meaningful scenes to share with you. If you enjoy our videos, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with the latest content we produce. The original opening of the film, which was deleted, depicted the current state of the Earth and Jake's characterization. The Earth's surface is covered with a moldy gray civilization of mankind, caused by overpopulation, overdevelopment, nuclear terrorism, environmental destruction tactics, radiation leaks from power stations and waste treatment plants, toxic waste emissions, air pollution, deforestation, overfishing, global warming, destruction of the ozone layer, and loss of biodiversity due to species extinction. These factors have combined to turn this once beautiful planet full of greenery into one big mess. Everywhere is the same steel and concrete forest, overcrowded and filled with high-tech garbage. Due to air pollution, many people must wear masks when they go out. People shuttle through the dense crowd, passing each other, and the calm and peaceful planet Pandora forms a strong contrast. The hero of the film, Jake, is introduced as someone who participated in the long-forgotten war that led to paralysis of the lower body, leaving his legs useless and twisted, confined to a wheelchair. He is portrayed as having a full beard, messy hair, wearing an army jacket, and a gloomy expression. This opening scene establishes Jake's character as someone who is rugged and has been through difficult experiences. We then see Jake in his apartment watching a documentary about tigers. The film introduces the now endangered Bengal tiger, which has been extinct for over 100 years due to the massive destruction of the natural environment by humans. Humans had to use genetic cloning technology to resurrect the tiger from extinction, which is what the audience saw at the back of the film to create a hybrid species of Na'vi and human, a background knowledge of the genetic technology of Avatar. Despite being paralyzed in his lower limbs, Jake is still convinced that he can pass any test a man can pass. This shows that Jake himself has strong willpower and extraordinary self-confidence, even as a person with a disability. He also mentions the important point that if you're not treated fairly in life, it's probably because you live on the wrong planet. This lays the groundwork for Jake's determination to later immigrate to Pandora and live with the primitive tribe of Na'vi. The film then switches to the scene of Jake in the bar, where he is seen performing a balancing act with a glass of wine on his forehead. This scene shows that Jake's balance is excellent and explains why he could quickly adapt to the life of the Na'vi, successfully conquered and harnessed Pandora's aerial overlord Toruk, and became the leader of the Omaticaya tribe. Next, Jake sees a man beating a woman roughly, and the people next to him, except Jake, are indifferent and stand by and watch. The angry Jake goes up to the guy and beats him up severely. This scene perfectly defines Jake's character as someone who is very righteous, hates bullying, and loves to fight for justice. Jake is thrown out of the bar by the bouncer, and there is a voiceover that says, "In my damn life, I want nothing more than a thing worth fighting for." This "a thing worth fighting for" is a pun, on the one hand, referring to fighting, and on the other hand, referring to the goal of life. Jake later joins the tribe of the Na'vi to fight back against the invasion and plundering of the Sky People in a series of acts. It is this brave and fearless, righteous quality in Jake that attracts Neytiri. At their first meeting, Neytiri mentions to Jake that he has a strong heart. Overall, Jake's experience on Earth is essential for the audience to fully understand what he does later on Pandora, especially the major choices he makes at critical moments. The second important deleted scene is Dr. Grace's school. In the original version, we see Dr. Grace and her assistant studying Pandora's network while Jake explores the exotic plants. However, in the extended version, Jake and Dr. Grace visit the site of the old English school she built for the Na'vi. It has been closed and abandoned because the Na'vi have learned what they needed to know, according to Dr. Grace. This double entendre has a much darker meaning. The Na'vi have had enough of humans' cruel nature. At the school, Norm finds a children's book used to teach English to Na'vi called The Lorax by Dr. Seuss, which has a deeper meaning and connection to Avatar. The book is an allegory about the dangers of greed that leads to destruction of the environment, similar to human activity on Pandora. The Lorax in the book can communicate with trees and express their pain, similar to the Pandora network where Na'vi can communicate with Iowa. The scene was removed to avoid spoilers, but in another deleted scene, Dr. Grace explains the tragedy that happened at the school. The old school site explains why Neytiri knows English so well and also points to the location where Neytiri's family was killed by the Sky People. Jake discovers bullet holes in the blackboard and asks Grace what happened, but she hurriedly interrupts him, saying they have work to do. The third deleted scene is the Na'vi dinner party, which took place on the same evening that Neytiri first met Jake. This scene reveals one of the daily foods of the Na'vi, a Pandora insect called tulu, which looks similar to shrimp. During the scene, Neytiri tells Jake her full name, Neytiri Tate Skaha Motite, which Jake finds difficult to pronounce, resulting in him simply calling her Neytiri. Mote informs Jake that Neytiri will test him, and he may not learn anything, but they will learn a lot from him. Adukan adds, "You speak the truth. If we are to drive the Sky People from our land, we must know them." This scene also clarifies the real reason why Mote kept Jake in the Na'vi tribe. The fourth deleted scene is when Dr. Grace, Jake, and Norm arrive at the Hallelujah Mountains. Dr. Grace explains the reason why these mountains are floating in the air, which is related to the magnetic levitation effect and the superconductivity of the minerals that humans are mining on Pandora. Simply put, the extreme magnetism cancels out the gravity that would normally pull these huge mountains down to the ground, causing the Hallelujah Mountains to float in the air, which is the magnetic levitation effect. Humans need to use superconducting minerals to create faster-than-light communication and supercomputer chips. Therefore, these minerals are applied to supercomputing, which explains why humans have come all the way to Pandora to obtain these superconducting minerals. The fifth deleted important scene explains the tragedy that happened to Neytiri's sister, which is probably why Neytiri later despises humans so much and cannot fully accept the child of the human, Spider. In this scene, Jake sees some old photos of Grace's school students, notices Neytiri in one of the photos, and asks about the backstory. Grace tells him that Neytiri had a sister named Silwanine, who stopped going to school one day because she was angry with humans for cutting down the Tree of Souls. Then Silwanine and several other Na'vi ignited a bulldozer, ran back to the school, thinking that Grace would protect them. However, the Sky People caught up with the school and shot Silwanine and all the other locals in front of Neytiri. After this event, the school was abandoned, and Na'vi were forbidden from interacting with avatars. Neytiri began to hate humans after the Sky People killed her sister. This is why she prepared to shoot Jake immediately upon seeing him for the first time. I don't know why this scene was cut from the movie, as it adds more depth to Neytiri's characters and provides more historical context for the tense situation between the Na'vi and humans at the time. The sixth deleted one is the love scene of Jake and Neytiri under the Tree of Voices. Only after they form the spiritual connection through the Za'elu connection can they be physically united. Za'elu is a Na'vi word meaning bond or neural connection. This describes the physical process by which Pandoran flora and fauna mentally connect to one another by the use of their cues. And Iowa witnessed the perfect connection of all Na'vi from their spirits to their bodies. This scene reveals some extraordinary functions and bonding procedures of the Na'vi that are different from humans. Na'vi are monogamous, high-level creatures. Once they are united, they are equivalent to making a promise to be lifelong companions and seal this bond under the Tree of Souls in front of the goddess Iowa. I think this way of connecting through nerve endings is a very cool concept, more exceptional and advanced than the union between humans. The reason why it was deleted from some versions of the movie should be due to the limitations of movie classification in some countries. And through the additional dialogue in this scene, Neytiri's personality can be better understood. Jake said to Neytiri, "You know, my real body is far away, sleeping." Neytiri lifted her body and put her fingertips on Jake's chest. "This body is real. This spirit is real. I used to hate all the Sky People, but you taught me that the spirit is the most important." Neytiri's eyes were bright, honest, and infinitely deep, indicating that she is a pure, sincere, and kind-hearted person. The seventh important scene that was deleted is when Jake drinks with other members of the tribe during the hunting festival to celebrate their recent successful hunting mission. Prior to this, Jake had just killed a giant creature that looks like a rhinoceros, which earned him the respect of the others. Sute challenged Jake to a drinking game with a strong alcoholic drink of the Na'vi people, and mentioned that the Sky People were cowardly and always fought from a distance in their machines. As Neytiri and the others danced, Neytiri captivated Jake with her stunning and graceful performance of the banshee-like creature's dance. Neytiri pulled Jake onto the dance floor, and they gazed at each other with love in their eyes, revealing their feelings to one another. Unfortunately, this scene was deleted, even though it helped to reinforce Jake's reputation within the tribe and his relationship with Neytiri, in particular. The eighth important scene that was cut from the film is Jake's dream hunt ritual. The Na'vi people celebrate the dream hunt as a grand ceremony, which marks the transition of a child into an adult, similar to a rite of passage in human culture. Due to the potential danger of the ceremony, Grace strongly opposes it, but Jake insists on participating in his own dream hunt. During the ceremony, Jake is painted with a white ceremonial mark that matches the appearance of the Tree of Souls, the Tree of Voices, or the Tree Spirits. He then enters the ceremonial room in the home tree where members of the Omaticaya tribe play ritual music on a large wooden drum. The significance of the dream hunt is to reveal to the Na'vi their spirit animals, or possibly even something from the future, so each scene experienced during the ceremony is unique. Moat and others blow smoke around Jake's face and head to prevent any evil spirits from harming his vision and to enhance the psychedelic effect. Moat then produces a glowing worm, a blue and white worm that is 3 to 6 inches long, found throughout the tropical rainforest, just like worms we know on Earth. Moat puts the worm in Jake's mouth, and Jake begins to chew and swallow it. Then the tribal leader brings out a 7-inch long scorpion called the Pandoran scorpion, which stings Jake's shoulder with its poisonous stinger. When the venom from the scorpion mixes with the compound from the glowing worm, it creates a perfect state of intense prophetic vision. After a series of excruciating experiences, Jake finally sees his spirit animal, the Toruk Makto, the great Leonopteryx, and a scene of devastation. The Toruk in this scene foreshadows that Jake is the embodiment of Toruk, destined to become the leader of the tribe. The scene of devastation implies the tremendous damage that the impending war between the Na'vi and the Sky People will cause to the Pandora planet. Unfortunately, this crucial 7-minute scene of the dream hunt ritual was cut from the final film. The director may have been concerned that this mysterious, indigenous-style segment would disrupt the science fiction style of the film. Nevertheless, it was an essential clue to the story. The 9th deleted scene is a very sad one that takes place after the Battle of the Tree of Souls, where Jake has to kill Tsute. In the extended version, Jake and Neytiri find Tsute critically injured, with his neural interface severed and on the brink of death. Tsute weakly grabs onto Jake and says, "I can't fly anymore, can't connect with the woman I love, can't hear the voice of Iwa. I can no longer lead my people. You will lead them." Jake responds, "No, I'm not leadership material." But Tsute insists, "I've made my decision. Now please fulfill your duty as a leader and set my spirit free." Jake doesn't want to do it, but Tsute says, "It's the best way. I will be remembered." Tsute's voice is weak but full of determination and emotion. Finally, Jake has to pull out his knife and kill Tsute. Jake says, "Forgive me, my brother. Go find Iwa's spirit now." Tears fill Jake's eyes as he recites a prayer for the dead. This deleted scene is truly heart-wrenching, but it gives Tsute a more honorable and dignified death, and shows that the title of tribal leader has officially passed on to Jake. In the 10th and final deleted scene we're discussing, we see Jake and Neytiri surrounded by some pregnant Na'vi women and children playing in the water, laughing and jumping in the river. Neytiri is fishing with her bow, clearly pregnant. Jake's voiceover says, "The forest will heal, just as people's hearts will heal. New life flows with energy, like the world is breathing." In addition, this scene offers a sneak peek of the children belonging to Jake and Neytiri, who will be prominently featured in the upcoming film, Avatar: The Way of Water. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed our video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with our latest content.